Hey guys, Editing Brewer here. Just a quick note. The audio got really messed up for this episode for some reason that we cannot figure out. The files got corrupted. So to fix the voices, to not kill your eardrums, we had to put some voice filters over them. So if we sound like DND characters, we are very sorry in advance. Please enjoy the rest of the video.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Fetch Quest podcast. For today, I'm your host, Logan Brewer, and today I'm joined by my friend Connor.
Hello, everyone. I'm really glad to be here today.
All right, so Connor, just a quick question: did you ever watch the Toy Story movies?
I did, yeah. I think they're classics, all things considered.
I know, right? But Connor, I just had an idea.
What's your idea, Brewer?
So, how cool would it be if we could make our toys do the same thing, voodoo magic style?
I don't know about that voodoo magic stuff, but I think I have some great Toys to Life games instead. You know, they're pretty similar to voodoo.
Fine. Let's get making a voodoo doll for like Guy and Joe though for not being here tonight.
Thank you for not making one of me.
That's because you're a good friend, Connor. I'm that guy
Oh my
who's
god.
getting a nail in his crotch for his voodoo doll.
I can't believe it. Live recording is Brewer saying that I'm a good friend instead of saying that I suck and I'm a terrible person.
I mean, if you want me to say that, I'll say it.
I'm so happy.
I mean, if you have a fetish for that, I don't kink shame, so
I, you know what? Let's just go ahead and move on
yeah, let's move on.
for today.
Alright, so Toys to Life, it was a very interesting time for gaming, or an interesting period, I would
Yeah.
say. Because,
Really-
Connor, you grew up with them too, right?
I think I am probably out of the entire group the one that grew up with them the most. They were really what shaped, I guess, my early gaming experience. They were really all I played when I was younger until like honestly, uh, maybe until I was like 11 or 12 maybe is when I stopped playing them because my parents made me spell everything.
What? Also, just the older you got, the more you kind of realized maybe your parents were right, maybe the developers were scamming you a little bit.
No, the developers were 100% scamming me, but I still do wish I had some of my favorites around.
Yeah, because the first one, like Skylanders, it was just such a monumental, like, genius idea, marketing wise and game wise too. Because you had the advantages of selling the merchandise to toys that went with the game as well, and the game was still full price too. So you were just making tons of profit because kids had reasons to go out and buy the figures, all the merchandise, but also they would still buy the game. So it was like a win-win scenario.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Like, I know some people have kind of, I guess, tried, but I really am surprised no big company like Disney or some other huge company hasn't, like, tried to bring back Toys to Life in a video game.
I
And,
mean, Disney did at Disney Infinity.
I mean, they did, but I'm surprised they haven't brought it back, like, now with a new Disney Infinity game or something.
Well, I think it's more so makes sense, especially from a business standpoint, because
Yeah,
I think there could be genuine ways to animate on Toys to Life. But the thing is, just it was milked dry to absolute ruin, and now it's just viewed with stigmatism instead. I mean,
there
don't get me
was
wrong,
any-
it's still greedy, but
at that point, if there
yeah.
was any like successful kids franchise, then there was going to be a Toys to Life video game or something along the lines of Toys to Life. And as I'm saying this, I've realized we haven't explained what Toys to Life is yet, Brewer.
That's like a little bit bad. Do you want to go ahead and explain?
I'll go ahead and explain it. So, for viewers who don't know or never played a Toys to Life game, Toys to Life is a very niche subgenre of games where it is a game, but in order to play the game, you have to go out and buy like little toys in order to play the game. And when you would buy a toy, it would be of a character. In order to play as that character, you would have to stick it onto this little like thing And I don't
What are
know,
usually?
it was usually like a portal or something. I think Skylanders did it best because it made it feel, at least to me as a kid, it did actually make it feel like the toys were coming to life. Because it would always like light up in the portal and it like made sense and stuff like that.
Yeah, and on the TV screen too, they were like, you just summoned Gil Grunt.
Yeah, exactly.
Making that dramatic with the lights.
Yeah, it was so cool. But you would essentially, it was essentially just a marketer's wet dream where they would make you pay full price for a game as well as making parents buy hundreds of dollars worth of toys in order for their kid to like have different characters within the game. Because and they knew this too, because I can't remember if this was always a thing, but if you ever died, you literally just could not play as that character unless you like restarted the level or something. You would have to choose another character to play as. Like you just straight up couldn't.
It would depend on the type of game, but most of them was either, yeah, you die with that character, you gotta use a different one or restart the level, or it would just be such an obscenely absurd amount of time that you will never unload it. Man, takes me back.
Yeah, yeah, that's really the best way I can describe it. It was a video game genre that people who wanted to make a shitload of money wanted to, use, and you just buy toys and you would stick them on a thing, and then you could play as the toy in the video game. And for a kid, that was the coolest thing ever. Like it was so cool to be able to.
A parent's worst nightmare.
Oh, it was 100% a parent's worst nightmare because you had to spend so much money for your kid because they wanted the cool looking like elf character from the funny game you saw them playing all the time.
Yeah, I'd have my mom come in and say blessed and speak to the horror stories of actually got all my Skylanders.
Yeah, I know my parents were like relieved whenever I stopped playing Skylanders because they're like, we finally don't have to waste $100 for them to buy a bunch of fucking plastic toys to put on a TV screen.
Yeah, same here because, like, although it's the Skylander games, they were really fun. Like, I'll admit there's some childhood nostalgia in there, and a lot of them were iffy, depending on the quality, because, like I said before, they were milked. So they were just constantly releasing them one after another. So you had the first Skylanders. About a year after, you had Giants, you had Swap Force, then you had Trap Team, then you had the one with go-karts that I can't remember the name of, and they're like Imaginators.
I'll Google the race one real quick.
Yeah, I think I have it somewhere. I remember a friend gave it to me for helping them move or something, because I had a bunch of old Skylanders along their hand.
Skylanders Superchargers.
Okay, yeah. And that was the one that had the amiibos in them as well, with like Donkey Kong and Bowser.
Well, they weren't amiibos. They were just official like Skylanders figures.
It was kind of cool. They functioned as an amiibo and a Skylander, so you would swap the base. They would function as a Skylander, but then you swap it the other way, they would function as an amiibo.
Oh, that's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, it was pretty rad. I'll give them credit on that. Even though it meant Donkey Kong and Bowser were just characters you couldn't have if you wanted the PS4 version.
That's pretty funny.
If you're one of the like 5 people out there that had a Wii U, then you could play as Donkey Kong and Bowser and the Skylanders game a lot of people didn't like.
Yeah, that is pretty funny, not gonna lie.
Yeah, because I do have fond memories of them. They were pretty simple games. Because you'd run around, you'd kill a bunch of enemies, do some simple puzzles, fight chaos.
Or any number of different villains. Once I think it was either Swap Force or Trap Team, one of the two. They introduced different villains, but it was mainly chaos.
Chaos was just the one guy who was coming back for more.
Yeah, I honestly really. Like, it's 100% childhood nostalgia, because if I got Skylanders now, I'd probably be like, this is not great, this is really mediocre. But I still hold like a bunch of like nostalgia for Skylanders. I remember I had like so much fun with Trap Team, Swap Force, and giants. Like I just remembered I had so much fun swapping the character bases and for the swap force characters and seeing the different
Oh, yeah.
you could get. I remember I had so much fun playing as like I think his name was like Snapjaw or something, the alligator from Trap Team. And I always had so much fun like beating up the like capturing the villains from Trap Team and stuff like that. It was so
Yeah,
fun.
Trap Team had a fun gimmick, but a big problem was like a lot of the Skylanders games that you learn into, it was like, content, you purposely can't get to it unless you have a specific Skylander,
Oh,
or in
that's
Trap
that
Team's
was
case, a trap.
and the thing was, yeah, that was also the thing, is that I remember I couldn't get certain villains because I didn't have the type of trap I needed, which is really, I think once Trap Team hit, I think that's when they really started milking out the different milking out the whole marketing and having to buy a crap ton of stuff for it. Because before it wasn't so bad. Like, yeah, you'd have to have like different types of characters for Swap Force in order to access some bits, but they weren't ever required. Like, you could beat the game with like at least the base Swap Force characters. You never had to go out and buy. So if you wanted, you could just buy the game and get through like that. You just wouldn't have to die, basically.
Yeah, but that's still not the most fun way to play the game, because obviously, as a kid, you're gonna get the game, but the three characters you get, they're kind of cool, but then you see, like, things like, Trigger Happy. What's different
Yeah,
about him?
exactly.
He's yellow. He's
Yeah,
yellow,
stuff
that's
like
it?
Yeah, stuff like that. I think if I was to think of it, because once Trap Team hit, to go back on my point earlier, you had to start buying traps in order to get all the villains, which, it's not terrible, but the fact that you couldn't just like have one trap for the entire game, you had to go and buy a bunch of other different traps in order to catch the bad guy, was very like scummy. Well, not scummy, but it was like really marketable thing.
Yeah.
And then it got so much worse with superchargers, because instead of just having to have a character, you had to have a trophy. And I don't think you had to have the trophy.
Isn't that a particular thing?
You had to have the character and a bunch of vehicles too. So you literally couldn't go. And some of those vehicles were required. Like, so you had to have some vehicles to do parts, or else you had to go. I think you had to go on like a super long, like, extra path when you could take a shortcut with the vehicles.
Yeah, well, superchargers, because I didn't play superchargers, because I kind of got off at that point. They basically give you the bare minimum, but if you wanted to go the easier, more fun route, you had to have an extra vehicle. It didn't just give you all the different types of vehicles in the starter pack.
The only vehicles you got in the starter pack, I'm gonna Google this to make sure I'm saying it right, but from what I remember, the only vehicles they gave you, were if you bought the Donkey Kong one, you got the car, and the, helicopter with, I think it was the grass girl, or like the stealth elf. That's it. It was stealth elf. You got stealth elves, like copter.
Okay, because I never had like a bunch of different bundles. Like the one my friend gave me is like a dark version, so it's Donkey Kong, but he's like pitch black. And this other weird spectre-looking character who's also pitch black, along with like the vehicles and stuff.
Okay, never mind. I just looked it up. I lied. They only gave you the Donkey Kong car.
I can't believe you'd ever lie to us, Connor, or lie to me.
I'm very sorry.
That's it, I'm making the voodoo doll for you, too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they only gave you the car, but they gave you Stealth Elf, which makes no sense because you can't do anything unless you have her helicopter. So they legit only just gave you Donkey Kong's car and then Stealth Elf's just Stealth Elf, which makes no sense.
There may have just been one of the weird bundles, because again, there's a lot of bundles, because mine has like 2 characters, 2 vehicles, and then like 1 racetrack thing, I'm assuming, whatever the trophy is.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
there were like little challenges you could do, I think, to unlock like stuff. But I don't think they were necessary.
yeah, it's almost probably just ignore superchargers because I think Git's probably agreed on to be the most like hated entry in the series.
Yeah, and that sucks too, since it does have Donkey Kong and Bowser in it, which is super cool. Like, kid me loved the fact that I could play as Donkey Kong and Skylanders, but it sucks that it was in the worst game in the franchise because
Can you play them in Imaginators?
what?
It's like, so, you know, how, like with most of the Skylanders games, your own Skylanders, you could bring them in to play new games as well. That's some big
Yeah.
zero skipped.
Yeah,
Can you do Imaginators or?
hold on, I'll look it up. I'll look it up.
Okay, well, because that's another thing. So, like, they got worse sometimes. The price gouging goes. They, along with having like the vehicles, worried about the biggest thing was that these elements, they're gates. So, like, usually in the first levels, you can unlock all the gates, because they would give you the Skylander responding to that. So, like, in the first game, there was, like, a mechanical gear one, a water one, and, like, this magic one. They gave you Spyro, Gilgrunt, and Trigger Happy to get through all those. But then, you know, in the next levels after, they, like, require, like, the fire one, the grass one, the death one. And you have to go out and buy more Skylanders to open those gates.
I would like to retract the point I made in the very beginning. I have indeed played Imaginators because I am looking at the thing and I am seeing characters that I definitely remember playing as in the game.
Well, are there, like, revamps of the characters or, like, the completely new characters?
Yeah, they're completely new characters.
Okay, because another thing they did as well was, like, a lot of revisions.
Because I also see the Crash Bandicoot pack because I remember that you could play as Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah, that was actually kind of a cool collaboration.
Yeah.
But it had Spyro for the first one, but no one cared. It was Spyro's Adventure, but everyone was like, Spyro? Who that? I think Trigger Happy Adventure is what you mean.
Yeah, I definitely did play Imaginators. Okay, awesome.
Yeah. The one thing that did me egregious too is like the figure re-releases, because the new ones are always cool, but they would keep re-releasing figures, but like this one's a different color. This one lights up a little.
Yeah.
And this one's a series 2, which means they have a couple of new moves. The figure looks different.
It was essentially shiny Pokemon, but you had to pay for them, which is a whole lot worse.
Well, say some of those shiny Pokemon were also pretty rare to find too, because my mom can tell you, there was just, it was pain to get some of those Skylanders.
Yeah, exactly.
You would walk in, you would see the same, like, 3 ones that are always there, but you want to find more Nader, you want to find Camo, you want to find any of the rare ones, gotta go to eBay, because they were scalped.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I have played all but the original Spyro's Adventure. The only memories I have...
Really now?
Yeah, the only time I remember I briefly played Spyro's Adventure when I went on a play date to this girl's house that I knew like when I was really young, and she also had Skylanders, and we played Skylanders Spyro's Adventure for a bit. That is literally the only time I've ever played Spyro's Adventure. I played every single other one of them, but I never played Spyro's Adventure.
Yeah, I played Spyro's Giants, skipped out on Trap Team for whatever reason. I can't remember why, probably because my parents were tired of paying for all the figures. And then played Trap Team, and then after Trap Team, I was like, you know what? I'm good.
Wait,
I'm gonna go to a different addiction now. I'm just gonna go to this.
hold on. Could you... Because it's fine. But you said I skipped out on Trap Team because my parents didn't want me to play Trap Team, and then I went on to Trap Team.
But no, I think Swap Force.
Yeah,
I meant.
okay, I was just wanting to make.
Yeah,
sure.
Spyro's Adventure, Giants, skipped out on Swap Force, and then I played Trap Team.
Yeah, I have my most fond. Honestly, I have fond memories of all of them with Superchargers. think even kid me knew that was a bad game. I really liked Imaginators. I think it was mainly because I got to play as like really cool looking new characters and old characters, and also Crash Bandicoot was funny even though I didn't know who he was. And I also got to play, my most fond memories are definitely Track Team Swap Force and Giants. I love Giants Swap Force.
I think Spyro's Adventure to Trap Team, those are the really good games. Everything after that, you have Superchargers, which, no. Imaginators, which has good aspects, but I still think Sever Forgotten's, because, like, to build the characters, the creation crystals you needed, you couldn't, like, freely swap classes because they had different classes for the way you attack. So this one uses a sword, this one uses an axe, this one uses a gun, etc., etc. But the thing that sucked, you couldn't swap between those classes freely, at least without a glitch. Once you chose that class, you were stuck with it forever. And you had to go buy another creation crystal, which was just scummy on their part.
I mean, I think once they got to Superchargers, they were like, we have to be as scummy as possible with this.
Yeah, well, too, that's when it, like, you could really start seeing stuff dying out. Even at Trap Team, you could, because, you know, when you release that many games in a span of time, especially, like, with the other games that I mentioned, Motor, it starts to die out very quickly, so they started making ways to milk it. Like, Imaginators had, like, paid DLC, too, so, which is already ridiculous, because full price game, you're paying for the figures, you're paying for even more figures, but to make new ones, you gotta pay, like, microtransactions to get new parts, which is just dumb. Because as much as I love the games, they kind of deserve to die at that point.
I mean, yeah, I miss Skylanders, and part of me does kind of hope maybe they'll do a huge reboot down the line, but I doubt they ever. Like, a deep part of me wants another Skylanders game, but I know they're never gonna do another Skylanders game.
Yeah, it'll take a while before anyone steps back into the market, because I need, like, a really new, innovative idea to make people actually want to go back and buy it, and really avoid the price gouging and stuff. And also make it feel worth it, because a lot of the Toys to Life aspects can just literally be like demos or something on a game. Like, there was one that released, like, the last Toys to Life I can remember was this, like, Star Fox type one, like Starfield, Battle for Atlas or something.
Starfield?
What? Maybe not Starfield, something ship game. But you would, like, have a controller, you'd put the ship on top of it, and you could swap out their weapons and stuff by putting different parts on it. But also, there's just a digital version you could buy with all the parts and stuff, so it's like, what's the point?
Yeah. So, speaking of stepping into the market of games, we're now going to talk about different Toys to Life games besides Skylanders, even though Skylanders probably did it best.
But yeah, there were a lot of other competitors stepping into the market, because obviously is how successful Skylanders was doing. But we're just gonna sit back and be like, okay, we'll just let you take out a profit. Alright, they want that money, they want that dough. It's like Disney stepped their toes into it, Lego stepped their toes into it, and then Nintendo stepped their toes into it as well.
Yeah, it was just such a genius marketing idea that everyone was like, we gotta have this.
Yeah, but there's not much to it, like dying quicker, there's about too, because with so many different products being released, people only have so much money and time they can dedicate to that, even children, well, more so parents' wallets, because the thing with all that too was buying all the figures.
Yeah, so the really, when you consider Amiibo, it's kind of hard to consider them as Toys to Life because they don't really function the same as Disney Infinity or Skylanders did. Instead of like you being able to like play as them, you necessarily get rewards within the game you use them in. The best example that comes to mind is Amiibo with Smash Brothers, because you can't technically, I guess, play as them, but not really. You get to have a
But they make an AI that you train up to fight, and you can give special stats and stuff to go bonkers.
I think Smash has the best use of Amiibo, because The only other, because in Mario Odyssey, you could get special rewards with the Mario, Peach, and Bowser amiibos. The Bowser one was the best one because it would lead you to where the purple coins were, so you didn't have to go searching everywhere for them.
Yeah, well, with the amiibos, they never meant to, like, be the same type of Toys of Life to where you're directly playing as that character. The rewards are advertised as dudes work in a variety of games, so instead of living in one game, the amiibos work in every game, which has kind of lost that meaning a decent bit over time.
Yeah,
Cause
the best example again is Smash because you at least get a bit of value out of them by being able to make a super strong amiibo to fight your friends. Or if you're a YouTuber, you could get a crap ton of content out of making a shitposty amiibo to fight your viewers and stuff.
now just content out of trying to get the damn amiibos in the first place, cause almost all of these Toys to Life, they had figures that were very, very annoying to get. Cause I remember you were in the trenches of GameStop, hoping to God they had their golden Mario amiibo.
For me, it was the trenches of Target. It was always just heading to the toy aisle with my parents being like, "Can we get that Skylander, or can we get that Lego Dimension set?"
I do have a good memory, especially because this place is closed down, not going into Toys R Us, and seeing, like, all three of the legendary, like, Skylanders for the original game. I think, like, Trigger Happy, Sparrow, and Bash. And then be like, Dad, can I get that? I knew it. They're definitely different characters. I'm not just lazy reskins.
Yeah, exactly. I think out of the four we've talked about briefly, I think Disney Infinity was the worst. But maybe that's because the only thing I remember about that game is me fucking around in, like, the creator thing. Where I don't think I ever actually played the game. I think I just screwed around and making a bunch of different, like, I would just make a bunch of different structures.
I think having the Lego one was the worst.
The
But I
Lego
played a
was-
little bit of it and just, it was, the way the characters and packs were implemented, like, it was cool seeing some characters, like Sonic and stuff, get official Legos for the first time back then. Other than that, it was just like the actual game. Eh.
Like, yeah, and I also don't like Lego Dimensions a lot because, bless you,
Thank you, Connor, you're so sweet.
for the vehicles you would have to build them yourselves. You'd have to follow the instructions and build them yourselves, which really sucked for stupid kid me, because kid me, like me now, is not very smart. So he didn't know how to build the Lego stuff, so I inevitably just stopped playing the game until I came back to it one day and just beat it all in one fell swoop.
Connor having a skill shoot with Lego.
Yeah, no, kid me was real dumb.
I think the bigger part of Lego Dimensions was the way they implemented the characters, because the characters packs you got, all the characters could work in the different packs and stuff. So they all had to be implemented that way too, so not a lot of unique ideas for each pack. But then also, a lot of times some characters being a little more broken than the other ones, because they try to give them special abilities, but they can only go so far.
Yeah, I think from a marketing standpoint, I think the Lego Dimensions one was probably the best try, because you got characters like Sonic, Ghostbusters, you got Batman, you got the Lego movie in there, which was huge. You got like
Simpsons,
yeah, you got the Simpsons in there.
Sonic,
Yeah, I already said Sonic. But
and
and
Scooby-Doo.
yeah, you're just able to explore their different worlds. It was a great marketing example, because it's like you're taking all these famous IPs and properties and mashing them together in one game. So you're gonna attract an audience no matter what, because there's gonna be a fan. There's gonna be a kid who's a fan of one of those properties, and they're gonna see it and they're gonna be like, "Oh, I want to play this now because it has this character," and then, you know.
Well, I think the thing is, the reason like Dimensions failed, bro, is because it released at a very bad time, basically the end of the Toys to Life era.
Yeah, I think if Lego Dimensions had released right around like maybe Swap Force, it would have blown up. Really, it would have done a lot
Yeah.
better.
Because, like, Disney Infinity, even though it had issues, it still did pretty well. And, like, I still enjoyed it a lot as a kid, because I played the first one. But once you get to the second and third ones, along with not having a lot of character variation, like, the original Disney Infinity, you had a bunch of different Disney properties in there. So you had, like, Monsters University, Cars,
You
you had The Incredibles. Well, I think the Marvel was actually when it started showing problems because instead of having a bunch of different properties, they just threw a shit ton of Marvel in there, and then for like the third one, a shit ton of Star Wars.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Instead of having like different franchises that everyone can relate to in some ways, because if you didn't like Marvels and you didn't like Star Wars, there wasn't as much in the second and third ones. But for the first game, they had a lot of variation, even if it was flawed in some ways, like some characters getting like full level packs, which a level pack in that game was basically a crystal you would put on there, and it would let you play in the world of that character. So like Monsters University, you can go to the world of Monsters University. For Cars, you can go to the world of Cars.
Yeah.
For some characters like Phineas and Ferb, you basically had the level creator, and you would get some items from your thing, and you could just make stuff with it, which was fun, but you still want those level packs in there.
Yeah. Honestly, the reason I think Toys to Life definitely died is because I think a lot of parents got tired, and a lot of kids started growing up and being like, this is kind of a scam, like a very huge successful scam.
It was a mixture of a lot of things, but oversaturation was one of the biggest, because
Oversaturation.
no one wanted to be buying, like my mom bought, like, all the figures for the original Skylanders for me. Well, that's who got your dad credit. I'm sorry, Dad. But then, like, after they buy a whole set, they find out, oh, there's another one with even more characters and figures that I have to buy, and these ones are more expensive. Whoa.
Yeah, I think it was mainly just mixed to kids growing up and either realizing it's a scam or growing out of it, and a bunch of oversaturation.
Yeah, because, like, I know so many memories out of Skylanders and Amiibos where, like, my mom would, like, call GameStop, Target, Walmart, wherever, just, hey, do you have this figure? They'd be like, yeah, but we only got, like, one left, and so we'd be, like, booking it to the store. I remember I got to the store one time, there was this rarish triple pack I was trying to get. There was a kid there that already had it in hand, but he was trying to decide between the one I already had and the one I didn't have. So, like, I was praying to high heaven and earth. I was like, please pick the one I already have. And for the love of God, just pick that one.
What did they pick?
Luckily, I picked that one, and I got the new one.
Happy ending for Brewer.
Yeah, and then just, like, going to GameStop, too, and seeing all the Amiibos and being like, oh, you have the Voyager Amiibo or the Silver Mario one?
Yeah. I think I know as much as we were talking about, like, how, it's a scam and stuff like that, we do buy a lot of Amiibos, because tomorrow I'm going to be buying, or trying to pre-order, the, Zelda and Ganondorf Tears of the Kingdom Amiibos.
Yeah, well, Amiibos are the ones that are still the most active, and by that I mean they're not dead.
Yeah. I know you just pre-ordered the Tears of the Kingdom and the Xenoblade 3 Amiibos. And Guy pre-ordered the Tears of the Kingdom, and he's gonna buy the Midgard Hearts Amiibo of Sora for Smash.
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts, bro. I'm gonna Midgard Hearts because you couldn't nice, good figures made.
Yeah, the guy he says he's a Xenoblade fan, yet he only really likes the first Xenoblade. He just does not like anything else in the franchise, which...
Well, I find out that he's played 2, but I'll still recommend X more than 2. Even though he's never touched X, and he doesn't even own a copy of it.
Yep,
Very interesting. Yeah, Amiibos, well, like I said before, they lost a lot of their original functionality, because I feel like Amiibos at this point in time, you more so just get them because you like the figures.
Yeah.
Like, if you just say you want them for the game, you are lying out of your ass, cause, like,
I'm not even buying the Tears of the Kingdom amiibos to use them in the game. I'm buying them because they look cool.
yeah, like, the Tears of the Kingdom amiibos, they let you get some new items and maybe a new, like, fabric to customize your paraglider.
Yeah, that's what they
Uh,
would. That's what the amiibos do now. Like, if you use the Majora's Mask amiibo or whatever one that is that's associated with Majora's Mask, you get a Majora's Mask paraglider thing, and that's about it.
Yeah, because a lot of them don't have the same function anymore, just they work in a bunch of different games.
Yeah.
Usually whenever they were made for it, they work in this one game. And occasionally they have them like the Pac-Man amiibo working in Smash, but also working in Little Nightmares for some reason to unlock a little costume.
Yeah, and the only reason I am buying the amiibos for Ganon and Zelda, besides them looking cool, is so I can make some really cracked amiibo fighters in Smash, and that's it. That's the end. That's all.
Well, oopsie, because sometimes with those amiibos, they'll have weird bits where they do function in this game, and while you think they'd function, they don't for some reason.
Okay, so
What's
it's a
that?
gamble. It's a gamble. I'm gonna make a really cracked Ganon amiibo that kills at like 2, or if it's just gonna be another collector's item.
Yeah, it's odd, because I remember at the Mario Party amiibos, like, I bought the Silver Mario amiibo, and as a kid, I did try to justify it by saying I wanted to play in the game, so when I got that, I also got the Mario Party game, because at the time, it didn't work in Smash. I played Mario Party 10, like, once or twice. It was bad.
Yeah, I didn't have friends, so I played Mario Party 10 a lot, despite me not having friends, because holy shit, was I a lonely little bastard when I was a kid.
Yeah, definitely.
But, yeah, I think on that depressing note, I think that's about it for the...
Well, it is a bit depressing, but you just gotta think back of, like, the happy times, because
when I was...
it definitely was a fad, and they did make a lot of money off it, but there was a lot of fun to be had with it, because
Yeah.
I know a lot of people my age and stuff, they'll talk about, oh, Skylanders, I love that, because you would be getting it for, like, birthday presents and stuff, Christmas presents.
I remember asking so badly for Skylanders for Christmas presents.
Yeah, you've been going at running to stores, like I said, just hoping you could get the one that's in stock before Rosa and Neckbeard resells it on eBay for like $1 jillion.
Yeah.
Which, as painful as it was, it does now, like a decade later, it does at least kind of make for some fond memories and just like, thank you, Mom and Dad.
Yeah, no, it's basically just a very radio excuse to be like, thank you, Mom and Dad, for putting up with my terrible childhood tastes and toy
Yeah.
games.
Well, I got an amiibo because amiibos are still painful to pre-order. A lot of them.
Yep, amiibos. I mean, every other toy select game, terrible. Amiibos, though, oh, amiibos are great.
Amiibos, like, the characters from different games you love, so
Exactly.
there's a much wider audience for that. That's
Yeah.
why, like, do amiibos for Smash, so do I, because they apply to a lot of different people, whereas the amiibos for Animal Crossing, you would find in bargain bins, because no one cared about the Animal Crossing amiibos.
No one really, yeah, until like New Horizons came out, no one really cared a whole bunch about Animal Crossing. I mean, it still had a fan base, but it was not as big as it was until New Horizons.
But that depends on how much merchandise you get too, because, like, the Amazing Blade 3 amiibos, I'd have, like, a notification for them and automatically just pre-ordered them. Like, 30 minutes after they were listed for Best Buy, they sold out.
That's very funny.
Now, every now and then, they'll still keep releasing them, too, because Best Buy releases their stuff in waves, so, like, not all of them at once, but still, that is absurd.
Yeah. But on that note,
Yeah,
make sure to like this button, like how we, I don't know, like to play
like the Activision CEOs loved liking their money.
Yeah, exactly.
Or more specifically, your parents' money.
And smash that subscribe button, like how the market was smashed with all those toys that you would have to buy.
Yeah, and comment if you played any Toys of Life games, or if you just staying away from them like they were the plague because you liked your money, unlike us.
Yeah, and what video topic you would like to see us cover next.
Well, with that, I've been your host, Logan Brewer, and with my fellow co-host, Connor. And thank you for watching Fetch Quest, everybody. Good night.
Thank you for watching.